it's almost a year to the day. I think a year to the day yesterday that you were over in the Kingdom fighting Jake Paul. How has your life changed over the intervening period?
I mean, you know, people always say that, but it is what it is. My life don't really change. You know, I still go on the same old days that I did before these fights. I'm still living in the same place, still doing anything. Just, it is what it is, isn't it, mate? Like, my mindset is always in the shape of a challenger, and that, you know, I don't have anything, and this is all all or nothing. You know, if I don't win this fight, it's all over, and that's it. That's my mindset. So I'm always grinding. I'm always on the move to do better, and I think that's why I pull through for these fights. Obviously, my ability is better than theirs, but the mindset, I think, is stronger.
Yeah, in that specific fight, you know, you had an unbelievable amount of pressure on your shoulders, Tommy. I could see the relief after the final decision. It was kind of flooding over you. You're fighting probably the biggest professional troll on the planet in the shape of Jake Paul. Yeah. How did you compartmentalize that pressure? And obviously with Tyson and your dad and all that, you know, also applying a little bit of pressure as well on their side. How did you deal with all of that?
That was honestly, it was so tough because obviously I was only 23, you know, at the time, and to have the weight of the world on your shoulders, the whole boxing world, the whole world in general, you know, and so many things going into the build-up. My baby girl was born 2 weeks before. So 2 weeks before the fight, I was sat for 14 hours on a chair like this in hospital, not training, eating off Deliveroo. I don't know how I won it, to be honest, but I tell you how I won it. It's the mindset, because on that week that I landed into Saudi Arabia, I thought, listen, the past is the past. It is what it is. I had a great camp, but there was a few things that maybe got in the way a little bit. But it's the mindset. You know, as soon as I landed in there, I said, this is my fight. I'm winning. I'm not losing. No way. And nothing ever. The thought of losing, it just wasn't an option. So then when I got in there, I knew I'd already won. And that is the mindset you have to be in order to get to these levels. And forget the opposition that I'm facing, you know, for now. Look at the stage that these fights are on. That was probably the biggest fight of last year. Yeah. Or one of them.
It's the biggest 8-round fight, I think. The most watched 8-round fight ever.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. You know, it takes two to tango. I had a good dance partner in Jake Paul, but again, to deal with that pressure of everyone back home, because that was everywhere, that fight. You've just got to be in a different mentality from everybody else, and that's what you need. Yeah,
and it was Robbie again that pointed out this out. You're 24, Tommy. There ain't many 24-year-olds in professional boxing who've had the exposure that you have had, and just on that, it's setting you up for the future. I mean, what does the future look like? Are you still hell bent on being a professional fighter?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, listen, it's, you know, these fights are very you know, lucrative, and that's the reason that, you know, these fights happen. But I'm a professional fighter that at heart. That's what I don't know any different. I've never had another job. I don't know anything else. From being 6 years old, I had the gloves on fighting, so that's all I know. So yeah, for the foreseeable future, boxing is a path that I'm going to go down. Obviously, I've got a million other avenues to take. You know, there's a lot on the table, which I am doing. I am going down these different avenues. But when a fight does get called on, I'll be in a training camp for 12 whatever weeks. You know, my head will be focused on the fight. There'll be no distractions. So you know, I'm a fighter at heart, but I've just got a few more things to do, a few more, chances to take, and roads to go down.
Give us an insight into what it's like, obviously watching you in the documentary, At Home with the Furies, with Tyson, going into camp with him. I think you were fighting in Dubai. He was obviously preparing for his own fight. Yeah. What's it like being in camp with a man as intense as your brother? And just, obviously, a lot of that benefit will, I'm sure, rub off on you, but it must be quite an exhausting process as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I owe everything to Tyson, especially mentally, because I get a lot of what I have, you know, from him, because I think for me he's got the best mental game in sports, you know, across the board. You know, his mental game is the reason why he's at where he's at. Obviously, his ability is second to none, but the mindset for me is why he's so successful. You know, anything he puts his mind to, he will achieve it. And it's all to do with up there, and that's why I adopted that and used it in my own life, in not just boxing, all other avenues. You know, I'm 110% in or nothing. And being in camp with him is the best thing in the world, because you're both preparing for a fight, both training together, eating together, sleeping together. So it's the best thing, because it's just enjoyable.
Is that mindset that you speak of, Tommy, is that innate? Like, is that simply being born with? Obviously, Tyson, well documented, some of the kind of mental kind of hurdles he's had to overcome. You've said you've looked up to him and you take a lot of what your brother is, but how do you fine tune that? I mean, are you, if I may ask, do you talk to a sports psychologist? Are you always looking to improve the psyche?
To be honest with you, I've never talked to anybody, or anything like that. No disrespect or anything to anybody who has, definitely not. I think it's an amazing thing. But me personally, alongside the rest of us in our family, that's something that we've never thought about because it's just, I think it's built into us. The one thing about the Furies is we've all got this mindset and it's all very, very different and we're all the same. So I think it's built into you. I think, in a short stack, you've either got it or you're not. Because at the end of the day, in boxing terms, once you get underneath them bright lights and it's not a small fight, it's not an undercard, you're the main event, the whole world's watching, it's make or break. And those who have it go on to the next level, and those who don't have it, they fall by the wayside. So you just got to pick who you want to be and what you want out of life and believe in it wholeheartedly and get after it. That's the top end of the mountain with it.
Has fatherhood changed your perspective on fighting? Because I know Molly's not a massive fan of you getting in the ring either.
Fatherhood's it's made me, into a fighter that I could never dream of being because I never thought I'd have kids this early. My whole life has kind of changed within 4 or 5 years, just like that. So I never believed I would have had kids this young, but having kids this young has just made me push on that much more. It makes me train harder. It makes me have a more, clear vision of what I'm actually fighting for, which is now my daughter Bambi. That's what I'm fighting for.
Yeah.
And every fight you go in, instead of going into it just yourself, I want to win, I want to do this, you go into a fight saying, I want to win because this man's trying to take food out of my daughter's mouth. And it gives you a complete different mindset change. Yeah. Makes this mindset even stronger than
it's
what it is.
It's actually harder to fight for yourself in that respect because, you've got to create something out of nothing. Whereas if you've got something there.
Yeah. Definitely, I think it's an amazing thing, and a lot of people, in sports say, having families and having kids, it's a distraction. I totally disagree with that. Even Tyson had his first child when he was 20, I think, and he's not done too bad, has he? I think it's all about the mindset that you have. Honestly, I think, if you're letting little distractions creep in, then your mindset's obviously not as strong as what it should be. You should be able to have 100 million different distractions going on, and you should still be able to zone in and cut everything out.
I agree with that.
So that's where my head's at.
Can I ask, obviously your brother isn't here, put one thing to bed for us all. A lot of questions have been asked. The eye cut, legit, there is no sense that your brother, your face tells you, and I know the answer is going to be, he's not running from Oleksandr Usyk.
Mate, I don't even need to answer that question. I don't even need to answer that question, buddy.
Says it all though, right? I mean, it's listen, we're excited for
honestly, for anybody out there who's, saying it wasn't legit and all this type of stuff, Tyson's the only man, when they were trying to make the AJ and Wilder fight for years, he come out, 3 years, drugs, alcohol, depression, everything, went over and fought him, while Joshua was talking about fighting for years. He went in the ring with Deontay Wilder three times, the hardest punching heavyweight to ever live. So, and he's going to be scared of a man who's not much bigger than me? I don't think so. Unfortunately, we was all looking forward to that fight. It was a massive fight. But unfortunately, these things happen in boxing. Tyson, you've seen big cuts on him before. It does happen. But he's still training. He's still preparing for the new date of May 18th, I think it is.
Yep.
And you'll get to see that fight then. But for me, I think it's going to be one of his easiest fights.
Did the Ngannou fight in a way perhaps kind of give him a kick up the backside? Because he seemed a bit flat after that fight.
Yeah, I mean, listen, everybody has an off night, don't they? Ronnie O'Sullivan, the best snooker player in the world, he can go to the table and can't make a 50 break. It happens, doesn't it? But it shows the true champion when they can win on a bad night. And that is the making of a champion. But in regards to the Usyk fight, I just think everyone's going to be in for a massive, massive shock.
And are they going to be in for a massive shock, Ngannou AJ? Have you seen Ngannou, what he did?
I think, for me, Joshua should win. He should win. But if he gets chinned, I won't be surprised. I definitely won't be surprised. I won't be like, oh my God. It's there. It's on the table. It could happen. Because a man of Ngannou's size, whether he's the best boxer in the world or not, if he clips you anywhere from the chin upwards, you're going over. So... he's got to watch out for that. I think if Joshua gets caught, it's over 100%. But it's if Ngannou can make it happen twice. I don't know. Let's see. Let's see if he can have another good performance.
Tommy, for yourself, I know you're obviously recuperating right now. A rematch with Jake Paul. I've read reports about some MMA crossover fight. Yeah. I mean, a lot of these stories get published all the time. Yeah. What's your own feeling on where you would like to take your career at such a young age? Because from where I sort of look at it, that the personality fights, the YouTube fights, quote unquote, are the money fights. Yeah. So it's a difficult road to try and navigate for you, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a difficult road, but you know, it's a sensible role. You know, boxing's a tough sport. We all know this. So if I'm going to get prepared and punched in the face anyway, I'm going to do it for a lot more money than I would do fighting somebody else. So at the end of the day, I've got a family now. I've got a daughter to think about. So they are the avenues I want to take. And you know, there's been all this social media stuff going on of him saying whatnot. Nobody's running from the fight. I'm here, and me and Jake Paul will be in that ring again. 100,000,000%. That's the avenue I want to go down. So as soon as my recovery is done, he'll be the next man that I'm going to fight. If he doesn't make some crap up, which he's very good at making, as I've seen for the past few weeks.
I think you said actually that he congratulated you after the KSI fight.
Yeah.
He sent you a message which was probably a bit unexpected.
Yeah, he sent me a message. He sent me a few messages. So it is what it is. The thing with Jake Paul is, you know, there's no bad blood there as it stands. But the guy's what he is a top-notch businessman, and it makes great business sense. But we do have unfinished business because I should have knocked him out the first time. So when I get in the ring with him the second time, or the cage, whatever it may be, he'll be getting knocked out, trust me. The next fight we have won't be going to points.
And timeline on this, Jay? I mean, obviously your hand. Talk us through what's up with your hand and what's the rehabilitation like.
So I had reconstructive surgery on, obviously, the middle knuckle there, you can see. And basically all the ligaments and tissues and bones, you know, a bit of bone damage, all this sort of damage in my hand. So I went in, you know, had an operation on that to give me a 6 to 8 month recovery. So I'm kind of giving and taking on that. You know, it could be quicker, it could be not. I don't know. So I'm going to take each day as it comes, and then as soon as I'm able to get back, start training for the next fight, I will be doing.
Just to bring it full circle, we're here at Hub 71, Tommy. Innovation Summit, innovation in boxing. Just want to get your thoughts on where you'd like to see the sport go, perhaps to streamline it a bit better. We were speaking to Amir about, you know, mandatory fights and getting the best to fight the best more often. Yeah. Is that where you'd like the sport maybe to head in the future?
100%. I think the future of the sport is here in the Middle East. You know, Abu Dhabi, Saudi. I think it's all there. So I think the Middle East is where, you know, it's going to be the home for sport. And yeah, at the end of the day, it's what everybody wants to see. You know, the best fight the best.
Dubai Eye 103.8.
Join the conversation.